It was a night that would haunt Roman Reigns forever, but not for the reasons he would have expected. The WWE superstar, known for his intimidating presence and countless victories in the ring, was heading home after a long week of filming for his latest project. Tired but satisfied with the work he'd done, Roman decided to take a detour on a secluded road, far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. The road was quiet, too quiet, and the air, heavy with the weight of silence, seemed almost unnatural. The world around him was swallowed by the night, with the only sounds being the hum of his engine and the occasional rustle of wind against the trees. He had been driving for what felt like hours when he noticed something strange. His phone had lost signal, and his GPS was glitching. That was when the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Roman had spent years in the WWE, learning how to trust his instincts, and right now, his instincts were telling him something was wrong. But he shook off the feeling. It was late, he was tired, and his mind was probably just playing tricks on him. He glanced at the road ahead and pressed the gas pedal harder, wanting to get home as quickly as possible. He was no stranger to late-night drives. He'd done it countless times before. But tonight was different. As he rounded a sharp curve, his headlights caught something unexpected in the middle of the road. At first, he thought it was a deer or some other animal, but as he got closer, he realized with a jolt that it was something much bigger. A cow, standing perfectly still in the middle of the road. Roman slammed his foot onto the brakes, the tires screeching as the SUV skidded. The world seemed to freeze for a second as he tried to regain control of the vehicle. The cow didn't move. It just stood there, its eyes fixed on Roman, calm and unblinking. His heart raced as he managed to steer the car to a stop just inches from the massive animal. The impact had been so close that Roman could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins, his hands trembling on the wheel. He sat there for a moment, staring at the cow, completely stunned. Why was it here, in the middle of nowhere, blocking his way? Roman shook his head, trying to make sense of the situation. He honked the horn, hoping to scare the cow away, but it didn't flinch. He honked again, no reaction. A sense of unease washed over him, and he decided to get out of the car to assess the situation. Maybe he could shoo the animal off the road and get back on his way. But as soon as Roman stepped out of the vehicle, the hairs on his neck stood up again. There was something unnerving about the stillness of the night, something that didn't feel right. The cow, still standing in the middle of the road, seemed almost too still. It was as if it wasn't just an animal. It was something more, something watching him. Roman took a hesitant step forward, his eyes never leaving the cow. "Hey," he called out, his voice low and cautious. "Move along, all right?" But the cow didn't respond. It just kept staring at him. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by an earth-shaking crack from somewhere behind him, followed by the sound of something large falling through the trees. Roman whipped around, his heart racing. A massive tree, easily 10 feet in diameter, came crashing down toward the road, directly in the path where he would have been had the cow not been standing there, blocking his way. The tree crashed with a deafening roar, splintering as it hit the ground in a cloud of dust and debris. Roman's heart pounded in his chest, and for a moment, he just stood there, frozen in shock. Had the cow just saved his life? Roman's mind raced. The tree had come down out of nowhere, and there was no way he could have avoided it if he had kept driving. It was only by a sheer twist of fate, or perhaps something more, that he hadn't been crushed under the massive weight of it. And what were the odds that a cow would be standing directly in his path, forcing him to stop just moments before the tree fell? Roman felt a chill run down his spine. He had no explanation for it, no logical reasoning that could explain why the cow had been there at just the right moment. But he knew one thing for certain. If he had kept driving, he wouldn't have survived. With his heart still racing, Roman got back in his car and locked the doors. He watched the cow for a few more moments, still unable to make sense of the situation. But as quickly as it had appeared, the cow turned and began walking off the road, disappearing into the darkness of the trees. Roman, still in shock, pulled away slowly, glancing back at the spot where the cow had stood. The next morning, news reports started to circulate about the incident. The authorities had found the wreckage of the tree, But there were no explanations for how it had fallen. There were no storms, no signs of damage to the surrounding area. It was as if the tree had simply